Heartwarming moment. Girl's amazing plea for her dying mom reveals billionaire's hidden connection. In the quaint town of Maplewood, 10-year-old Lily Sullivan sat on her bed, a world of heartache swirling inside her. The sunlight streamed through her window, illuminating the hopes and dreams trapped within her freckled face. Today, her laughter felt like a distant echo. Her mother, once her pillar of strength, lay frail and weak, engulfed in the shadows of terminal cancer. The cheerful banter of neighbors had transformed into whispers of casserole dishes and offers of help, but nothing could fill the chasm of grief that had settled in Lily's small heart. With desperate longing, she reached for her phone and pressed record. "Mom," she began, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I miss you so much. I wish I could go back to when we used to bake cookies together. You'd always say that a little sprinkle of love makes everything better." Her voice trembled as the emotions poured out. "You're my hero. I need you to fight. I need your light." The vulnerability spilled from her words, an outpouring of love that resonated far beyond her small screen. As her video Plea went viral, the heart of Maplewood began to shift. Among those hearts was Nathan Reed, a billionaire who had once roamed these very streets with Lily's mother, dreaming big and bursting with laughter. Now, his wealth loomed large like a shadow, a constant reminder of the life he had chosen that had distanced him from his roots. He watched Lily's heartfelt video, tears brimming, guilt gnawing in his chest for all the dreams he had allowed to slip through his fingers. Determined to help, he devised a plan to reconnect and support the community and, more importantly, Lily and her mom. Yet, Nathan's entrance into Maplewood was met with mixed feelings. Some welcomed his offers, eager to embrace the change he could bring. Others held tight to their pride, voicing their opposition against his privileged handouts. As word spread, a fierce debate ignited. Frustration bubbled up. What does he know about struggle? Some muttered, while others countered, at least he's trying to help. Tensions rose, threatening to fracture the community's foundation, all while little Lily sought solace in her mother's arms. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the air thickened with emotion, Nathan found himself drawn to Lily, who remained blissfully unaware of the storm swirling around her. Amid the chaos, her sweet innocence shone like a light, merging their paths. In a moment of pure vulnerability, he stood before the town he once knew, ready to reveal his connection to Lily's mother and the depth of his regret. But as he opened his mouth, silence enveloped the crowd, a charged moment hanging in the air. Hearts beat as one, but doubts flickered like candle flames. Would they be able to forgive? Could they unite in this crucial hour? As Lily watched, her heart fluttered, teetering between hope and confusion. The fate of Maplewood lingered in the balance, promising change yet also the threat of divide. What would happen next? Nathan's heart raced as he stood before the community. The faces staring back at him were a mix of anger, confusion, and skepticism. He cleared his throat, searching for the right words amidst the emotional maelstrom. "I knew Lily's mother, Ava," he began, his voice shaking slightly. "We were friends once, dreaming together in our youth." A ripple of surprise washed over the crowd. Some exchanged glances, while others folded their arms, still guarded. "Ava was one of the brightest people I've ever known," he continued. "She helped me believe in myself during the hardest times. I owe her so much." Lily peered up at her mother from her spot on the porch. They had spent countless evenings under the stars, with her mother telling stories about her hopes and dreams. When Nathan spoke about Ava, she desperately grasped onto the memories, wondering what this man could possibly mean. "I've spent years chasing after wealth and power," Nathan admitted, his voice raw with emotion. "But along the way, I lost sight of what mattered: people, love, friendship. And now, as I watch Lily's plea for her mother, I am reminded of all that I missed because of my choices. I want to help, but I also want to atone. I want to reconnect with this community. Easy to say when you're rich, someone shouted from the back. The crowd murmured their agreement, anger simmering just below the surface. Sure, Nathan replied, raising his hands in a gesture of openness. I may have the means, but I'm realizing that it takes more than money to heal wounds. It takes understanding, it takes community. And I can't do this alone. I've hurt many of you, and for that, I'm truly sorry. Lily felt the air pulse with tension. His words dug into her heart. She always wanted to believe in the goodness of people. And here stood a man admitting his mistakes. But could he really be trusted? I want to work with everyone to create something meaningful, Nathan continued, his eyes scanning the crowd. Together, we can provide support, resources, whatever you need. I want to create a care fund, one that could help families like Lily's weather the storm. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Would they accept his help? Who was he to offer anything after all this time? Lily shifted nervously, her heart racing. Could this be the answer she was hoping for? She turned to her mother, seeking clarity in her weary eyes. The faintest smile shielded her pain, but Lily could see the flicker of hope glimmering just beneath the surface. As if sensing the shift in energy, Nathan took a step closer to Lily. I can't bring your mother back, but I can fight for her, he said, his voice softening just for her. And I can help make sure that no little girl ever has to feel alone in a moment like this again. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. Nathan's words wrapped around her heart like a warm blanket, and for the first time in months, she felt something hope. But as the crowd fell silent, uncertain of this new path, the moment paused. A question hung in the air. Would they follow him? Would they trust him enough to take that first step toward healing? Would they dare to believe in his promises? The community stood at a crossroads, and Lily felt the weight of their decision pressing down on her small shoulders. The road ahead was murky, filled with doubt, but maybe, just maybe, it also glimmered with the possibility of something extraordinary. And as Lily turned to face Nathan, she whispered softly, "Will you really make it better?" The air was thick with anticipation. Nathan opened his mouth to answer, but the impending rain began to fall. The first drops splattered on the dusty ground, sending small puffs of dirt rising into the air. It was as if nature itself had chosen this moment to intervene, to wash away years of hurt and anger. Nathan felt the coolness on his skin and knew it was a sign, a heavy exhalation from the universe. Urging the crowd to make a choice, he looked back at Lily. Tears glistened in her eyes, and for a brief moment, he was lost in the reflection of her innocent hope. It stirred something deep inside him, a longing to be part of something bigger, to cultivate joy rather than destroy it. The rain began to fall heavier, enveloping them in a curtain of silver that dulled the harshness of the gathered heads. Now more curious than hostile, a voice broke free from the crowd. "What's in it for you, Nathan?" A middle-aged woman stepped forward, her expression stern yet vulnerable. "You think throwing money at us will fix everything? You think you can buy our trust?" Nathan knew she had a point. How could he, with all his privilege, expect to rebuild any lost connection overnight? "It's not about the money," he replied with urgency, his gaze firm. "It's about creating a space where we all work together. I want to give back what I took from this community, not just financially, but emotionally. I want to heal." The rain now came down in earnest, drenching them all, and yet it transformed the moment into something electric. Even the tension in the crowd felt softer, as if the downpour was unlocking walls long built up. Nathan took a step forward, casting aside his reservations. "Let's talk about what we need. What can I do to help? I'm here for you, for Lily, for Ava." Lily felt hope blossom again, wild and untamed. It wasn't just Nathan's words that stirred something in her, but the sincerity in his eyes. She had seen that look in her mother's gaze when she spoke of dreams yet to be fulfilled. It was familiar, comforting, and made her voice tremble. We just want my mom back," she murmured. Swallowed by grief, a shiver raced through Nathan. "And we'll fight for that. I promise we will do everything we can." Just then, another voice joined in. And you think it's gonna be that easy? A tall man with a weathered face stepped forward, skepticism etched into his features. People like you don't change overnight. No, it won't be easy, Nathan admitted, feeling the weight of the challenge ahead. And it won't be quick. But I can't promise you that it will be perfect. I can only promise you my commitment. To each and every one of you. To this community. Another murmur rolled through the crowd, mixing uncertainty with a flicker of curiosity. Could he truly mean it? Would they allow themselves to believe in the possibility of change? Nathan could feel the ground beneath them shifting, the very foundation of their shared past melding into something new. Enough with the empty words, shouted someone in the back, their frustration tangible as raindrops beat against their skin. We've heard it all before. Lily took a shaky breath, glancing back at her mother in the doorway, hoping for a sign. Would she encourage this? Was it worth risking more heartbreak if things fell apart again? But as she met her mother's gaze, she saw a small nod, a glimmer of trust breaking through the doubt. With newfound courage, Lily called out, Maybe we start small. We could have a meeting, talk about what's needed. Nathan blinked, powerfully moved by her words. Yes, community meeting. Let us start there together. The crowd shifted again, a collective breath taken. The storm overhead could drown out their doubts, but it would also wash away their fears. In the middle of that chaos, Lily felt connection, igniting a fire within. But as the rain continued to fall, a new voice emerged from the edges of the crowd, one that sent a ripple of dread through Lily's heart. What if you're just lying again? Nathan, what if you're doing this for yourself? The voice hung in the air, a shadow threatening to eclipse the glimmer of hope that had just begun to take root. The question slammed against Nathan's soul, and as he stood there, exposed to both the elements and the community, he realized something profound. Redemption would be harder than he ever imagined. And as the rain poured down, washing away the past, Lily knew deep down that she was ready to take that first step. But would Nathan be able to withstand the scrutiny of their collective doubt? Would he have the strength to fight through the past he had sowed? The rain fell, heavy and unyielding, and the next chapter of their story was about to unfold. The rain drummed a relentless rhythm against the dusty ground. But in that moment, Nathan felt somehow lighter. The collective tension in the air was almost palpable, like the hush before a storm settles. He glanced at Lily again, her face streaked with rivulets of rain and tears, and just for a second, he saw not just a child but a vessel of hope. Her courage urged him forward, even as doubt clawed at the edges of his resolve. Listen, Nathan called out, raising his voice, cutting through the murmur of voices questioning him. I can't change the past. I know that, but I can listen. I can learn. We can create something new together. People shifted, faces still locked in skepticism, but he detected the stirrings of curiosity. Nathan's heart raced as he thought about how much he stood to lose if he didn't seize this moment. This community deserves a chance. You deserve a chance, not just from me but for yourselves. A few people exchanged glances. Nathan took a deep breath, wrapping his mental arms around vulnerability. Tell me what you need. We can rebuild this. I want to know your stories. The good and the bad. Let me help in ways that truly matter. Lily watched intently, her hope teetering on the brink of disbelief. Could Nathan really mean it? Could he step beyond the bounds of his privilege to truly understand their lives? Then, an elder man from the back stepped forward, his gray hair clinging to his forehead like strands of the past. My son. He has been missing for months. No one seems to care. His voice cracked as he faltered. What can you do for him? The sentiment echoed through the crowd. A ripple of despair rendered each story raw and poignant, and Nathan felt the weight of it settle on his shoulders. What do you need? Search parties? Resources? I'll do my part. The storm intensified around them, but Nathan now felt a different kind of pressure, not of doubt, but of responsibility. He didn't want to let these people down. He had seen glimpses of their suffering, and he craved to be the change he so desperately sought. The atmosphere around them was charged. A woman stepped forward next. What about housing? What about the kids who don't have food to eat? We don't just need words. Real steps will be taken, Nathan responded firmly. Promise. I'll work with all of you. We'll create programs. Will you really care? She pressed, raising her chin defiantly, the storm hanging heavy in the air. I will show you, he insisted, desperation rising in his voice. Trust is earned. I get it. But I'm willing to work for it. Lily felt a pulse of energy in the crowd, a newfound hope, but it battled against years of skepticism. And then, just as Nathan was gaining momentum, a low groan of disbelief rolled through the throng. And what happens then? A voice called, when the rain stops, and it's just you with your privilege again. Who will be here with us? The question stung, and Nathan felt the doubt creep back in. Would he disappear when things got tough? There was silence, and he could feel Lilia's eyes locked onto him, desperate for reassurance. I won't abandon you. The words came out instinctively. You have to believe me. Why should we? A woman challenged, her eyes narrowed, filled with years of unresolved anger. Nathan searched for the right words as the rain soaked him to the bone, drenching him in the weight of countless stories he had yet to hear. The heart of the crowd had shifted. Now it pulsed with cautious hope, breathing only for a moment before the shadows of doubt crept back in. He knew he had a monumental task ahead, full of thick feelings and heavy memories. But as he looked out at the sea of faces, each marked by hardship, he recognized one undeniable truth: he was neither their savior nor their enemy. The journey would bare his soul, and the community would have to decide whether they would take that path together. Lilia's small voice broke through the tension, asking the question that would shape their future. Will you meet us again tomorrow? Just to talk? Nathan nodded, a flicker of determination igniting within his chest. Yes, tomorrow. But more than that, let this be a beginning, not an end. And so, as the rain continued to pour, Nathan felt the stirrings of something both terrifying and profound. Could they forge a bond strong enough to weather the storms ahead? But before he could voice those thoughts, a flash of lightning illuminated the sky, and he couldn't shake the feeling that darker clouds still loomed on the horizon, waiting for their first misstep. Would they find the strength to unite? Or was this just another fleeting moment bound to dissolve into the next storm? The following day dawned with a slate-gray sky, a promise of rain still lingering but refusing to let go. Nathan stood at the appointed meeting place, his heart fluttering nervously within his chest. This was more than just a conversation. It was a lifeline. He hoped that through the droplets of rain that fell, he could wash away yesterday's doubts. His resolve felt fragile, but it was alive. Lily arrived first, her small figure almost swallowed by the looming clouds. Her eyes sparkled with an energy that matched the electricity in the air. You came back, she shouted, breaking into a run as she approached him. Of course I did, Nathan replied, kneeling to be level with her. How could I not? You all have stories. You all deserve to be heard. Nathan glanced around, hoping others would join them soon. The sound of a door creaking open made him turn. Gradually, the community began to gather, hesitant, their faces still painted with skepticism. The elder man from yesterday stepped forward, his expression a mix of hope and wariness. You said we could share our stories, Nathan. But we need to know what you truly mean. Can you share a piece of yourself first? Show us you're not just words? Nathan swallowed hard. This was as frightening as standing in front of a firing squad. But if he was to lead, he needed to be vulnerable. All right, he began, taking a deep breath. I grew up in a wealthy family. We had everything: money, comfort, security. But there was always a void in our house. My father was consumed by work, and I felt more like a trophy than a son. When I was about Lilia's age, I found myself looking out our window, wishing for connections that mattered. Like the ones I see here. A murmur passed through the group. Nathan pressed on, feeling some of the walls crumble. Took me a long time to realize that wealth doesn't mean happiness. I tried to fill my life with things. But in truth, I've spent years searching for purpose, finding ways to give back and connect with the real world. A soft voice piped up from the back. And what happened when you found it? It changed everything, Nathan replied honestly. I realized that true connections come from understanding and shared experiences. That's what I want to find in this community. Still, skepticism lingered. A mother with weary eyes stepped forward. You think you can hear us and just fix everything? Our pain? Our struggle? I don't have a magic wand, he admitted. What I have is a willingness to listen and to learn. I can't truly fix anything, but together, we can start building something better. I need your help, your stories, your truths. Suddenly, a young girl climbed onto a small rock nearby, her boldness easing the tension. If we're gonna share, I want to go first, she declared. Turning to Nathan, she said, I want to tell you about my brother. He won't even play with me anymore, and I think it's my fault. I just want him back. The crowd buzzed softly, drawn in by her raw honesty. Nathan felt a surge of warmth, recognizing the power of her words. Thank you, he said gently. That's brave of you. As each story unfolded, Nathan's heart ached and swelled at the same time. Some spoke of loss. Others shared dreams that felt miles away. Nathan found himself breathing in their pain and hope, stitching together a fabric of shared experience that began to envelop them all. He could feel something shifting, like the storm clouds starting to part, revealing glimpses of sunlight. But just as he began to believe they were forging a path together, the wind picked up, stirring a feeling of uncertainty in the air. A figure appeared at the edge of the gathering, a silhouette etched against the gray sky. Nathan squinted, his heart racing as he recognized the familiar stance. Was it someone from his past? Someone who could unravel everything they had just started to build? The wind howled as if echoing his rising anxiety. Who could it be? What secrets might they bring along? Nathan's heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the growing sense of dread that washed over him. The gathering of hopeful faces blurred into a sea of uncertainty as his eyes remained fixed on the distant figure. The silhouette was tall, his presence commanding. As if he were an unwelcome specter returning to haunt Nathan's newly woven dreams, he stood, a familiar mix of anger and fear bubbling just below the surface. How could this be happening now? This moment was meant for healing, for community, not for ghosts. His palms grew clammy, and he fought against the urge to turn away, to slip back into the safety of the past as the figure drew near. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. It was Ethan, his estranged father, the billionaire he hadn't seen in years. The very man he'd tried so hard to escape. A man whose wealth had once suffocated him. Dad? Nathan said, his voice barely a whisper. The word tasted foreign on his tongue. The crowd shifted, glancing between Nathan and the newcomer. Whispers rippled through the air, laced with curiosity and confusion. Ethan's eyes met his, a mix of regret and determination reflected within them. Nathan, why are you here? Nathan interrupted, his voice sharper than he intended. The words poured out like venom, driven by years of resentment. I heard about what you're trying to do, Ethan replied, taking another tentative step forward. I wanted to understand. What's changed? I've spent a lifetime buried in my work, but I didn't want to lose you, too. Nathan felt the weight of those words collide against his chest. Did his father truly seek connection after all this time? But he couldn't let himself get distracted. You don't get to just show up and expect everything to change. You walked away from us. The gathered community listened, their expressions shifting between shock and empathy. Lily, still perched on her rock, looked back and forth between the two men, sensing the tension thickening the air. Listen, Nathan, Ethan said, desperation creeping into his tone. I know I'm not the father you needed, but I want to help. I can support this community give back, if that's what it takes to prove myself. You can't deny my resources can make a difference. A ripple of surprise cascaded through the crowd. Nathan's breath stilled, his defenses momentarily shaken. The thought of his father wielding the kind of power he resented for so long was suffocating. No, Nathan shot back, forcing himself to hold his ground. You can't buy your way back into my life or into their stories. This isn't about money. A silence fell between them, heavy with unspoken memories. Nathan's pulse drummed in his ears as he glanced around at the once open faces of his community, now clouded with uncertainty. Ethan hesitated, then looked back at Lily, who had been watching the exchange with wide eyes. I just want to help. I was lost too once. I still am, he confessed. Nathan felt a flicker of something flicker within him. Could a bridge possibly be built over this chasm of resentment? But before he could respond, Lily stepped down from the rock, determination sparkling in her gaze. I don't care about money. I just want my brother back. Can you help, Mr. Nathan's dad? Stunned, Nathan barely processed her words. All he could see was the glimmer of hope sparking in her innocent eyes, a desire to reach her brother, to mend their fractured connection. Everything inside Nathan screamed to reject the proposition. But looking at the faces around him, at the vulnerable souls who believed in change, he felt the walls began to crack ever so slightly. With Ethan standing there, almost begging for a chance, Nathan found himself at a crossroads, a decision made even tougher by his father's unexpected plea. Would he let the past define the future, or would he dare to take a step into the unknown? As he looked back at Ethan, a question blazed bright in his mind. Could this be the redemption they both desperately needed? And right then, the winds shifted again, but this time bringing with them a promise of stormy yet essential change. Can you really help? Nathan asked quietly, the question hanging heavy in the air, pregnant with possibilities. Ethan's eyes widened, as if a door had creaked open just enough for hope to seep in. I can, he said, urgency threading through his desperation. I just need a chance to show you, to show all of you. The murmurs in the crowd shifted into a hush, anticipation floating on the tense air. Nathan could see heads turning, assessing Ethan's sincerity or lack thereof. The weight of their gazes pressed down on him, a tide of expectation rising. He felt caught between a current of anguish and a flicker of possibility. Why now? Nathan challenged, trying to keep his voice steady. You didn't think to be here for birthdays or even when Mom was sick. His words cut through the silence. All those years, all those moments. Ethan's shoulders slumped, the hardness in his gaze softening as he seemed to shrink under the weight of regret. I can't change the past. I was blind, so caught up in my world that I didn't see how far I'd pushed you away. Lily stepped closer to Ethan, her small hand reaching up as if trying to bridge the vast chasm separating them. But you want to help now, right? You love my brother? Her innocent inquiry hung in the air, making Nathan's chest ache. He had never thought his father could love him. Not through the lens of wealth, nor through the absence that had shaped his childhood. Yet here was Lily, voicing a simple truth. Love could, and should, mean more than just riches. The crowd murmured again, some in support of Lily's plea, others uncertain. Nathan noticed several faces twist in familiar lines of skepticism, but a few wore expressions of hope, thinking maybe, just maybe, this was a chance for something real. Is love all it takes? Nathan felt the crack in his defenses widen. After everything, is that really enough? For a moment silence fell again. Ethan opened his mouth, struggling for words, but it was Lily who stepped forward again, her voice bright with simplicity. What if you both just try? Go slow. I can help you, just like I help with community gardens. Her sincerity radiated warmth. Could this little girl really be the bridge they needed? Ethan nodded, his demeanor shifting from wounded to resolved. I'll take it slow, Nathan. I promise to show up, to be part of this community, to help however I can. Nathan's heart raced, the stakes felt higher. Would he take this fragile offering? It felt like a breath before plunging into cold water. It might be exhilarating or terrifying. Could his father really mean it? Could their bond be salvaged at this late stage? The crowd watched intently, feeling the charged atmosphere pulsate around them. A tiny voice broke through his spiraling thoughts. What about Mom? Lily asked, her eyes widening. She's sick. That struck a different chord in Nathan's heart, a painful reminder of the love they had lost and the urgency of the present. We're doing this for her, he said lowly. She needs us both. As Ethan stepped closer, a wave of apprehension coursed through Nathan. It was one thing to consider their past, another entirely to forge a new path forward. He glanced at the crowd, He realized that the decision he made would not only affect their family but the entire community they had built together. "What will you offer?" Nathan asked finally, his heart aching with a mix of fear and hope. Ethan opened his mouth to respond, sincerity etched across his features when suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. People gasped and stumbled backward. A wall of uncertainty rushed in as thoughts of change clashed violently with remnants of the past as dust swirled around them. Nathan looked into his father's eyes, and a realization struck him hard. Sometimes, healing doesn't come without a fight. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" he asked, just as the earth seemed to shift beneath their feet, shaking loose not only the ground but the very foundations of their lives. How far would they go to rebuild? And as Ethan nodded, the world shifted again. Something big was about to change. The ground settled slowly beneath them, but the tremors had not subsided within Nathan. He hardly registered the concerned looks of the crowd, their eyes wide, taken aback by the sudden quake. Instead, he felt a storm bubbling inside him, fueled by everything left unsaid among the tangled mess of family history. The dust settled like uncertainty, obscuring clarity, and Nathan's gaze darted between Ethan's pleading expression and Lily's innocent hope. "Did you even think about Mom?" Nathan's voice trembled, raw and unfiltered. "All this time, what good is your love if it doesn't come with action?" Ethan flinched, but a flicker of something deeper sparked in his eyes. "I haven't been here," he began, but the words got tangled in his throat. Nathan could see his father wrestling with the truth of his absence, a truth neither had been willing to face until now. With every beat of silence, Nathan's heart imploded, threatened by emotions that swirled around resentment, longing, and an aching desire to connect. He focused on Lily, who still reached for her father like a fragile light cutting through the dark. Her expression mirrored faith, untouched by the years of division. "Why shouldn't you listen to him?" She finally spoke, surprising everyone. Her small voice held an unwavering courage. "What if he really wants to change? You want him to change, right?" She looked up at Nathan with those wide, trusting eyes that seemed too big for her little face. For a fleeting moment, Nathan hesitated. Could he set aside the years of hurt? Could he dare to believe Ethan's confession, however delicately it fell from his lips? The idea of redemption curled around his mind like a soft whisper, challenging the tenacity of his anger. As Nathan weighed the question, Ethan cleared his throat, his expression now steeled with a mix of vulnerability and fierce determination. "I could have done better, I should have done better. But, Nathan, I want to be there for you, for her. I swear this time, I mean it." A knot tightened in Nathan's chest, mixing anger with an unexpected sense of hope. "Is it just words?" he pressed, desperate for more than empty promises. "You're talking about a relationship that's already broken. You don't get to just waltz back in and pretend everything's fine." But the pull of desire lingered, desperate for a path forward, and Lily's soft tug on Ethan's shirt amplified Nathan's unease. "You can't hide from love, Nathan," she insisted, her voice steady. The maturity in her tone took him by surprise, opening a window of possibility. "What's the plan? How do we fix this?" he asked, grasping at the edges of his father's resolve. "I want to help your mother," Ethan replied, sincerity echoing in his words. "It has to start with her. I'll do what it takes. If there's any chance, I just need you to let me try." As Nathan looked out at the crowd, their hopeful eyes, some filled with skepticism, he felt a slight crack in his armor, a glimmer of a pathway emerging through the rubble of resentment. "You're willing to stand with us? To fight for Mom?" Something in him was shifting, a door creaking open, just like Ethan's had moments before. But just when Nathan was about to respond, the sky darkened unexpectedly, clouds rolling in ominously overhead. A storm brewed in the distance, the air charged. "Now?" he breathed, his heart racing alongside the approaching thunder. At this very moment, when everything feels so fragile. Before he could think further, a flash of lightning brightened the gloomy sky, illuminating the doubt etched on his father's face. "Do you want to make this work?" Nathan whispered, the question heavy, the weight of their collective past crashing around them. Each heartbeat echoed the uncertainty of the future. Lily squeezed her father's hand, a gesture of unwavering belief in a man who had been so far from them, so distant, as the first drops of rain began to fall, soaking into the earth and washing over buried grudges. Nathan knew this wouldn't be easy. He would have to confront his feelings, perhaps invite vulnerability into a space so long held in. Anger. Are we really ready to change? He urged, looking from Ethan to Lily, knowing how crucial this moment was. And as thunder rumbled in the distance, Nathan realized it wasn't just a question of the physical storm. It was a question about their hearts. The rain began to fall in earnest, a rhythmic tapping that matched Nathan's quickening pulse. Instead of washing away their past, it felt more like it was amplifying the tension, driving it deeper into the fissures of their shared history. Lily's grip on Ethan intensified, her small fingers wrapping tightly around his, as if she was anchoring them all in this chaotic moment. "We can do this," she said, her voice cutting through the murmur of the crowd and the patter of rain. "Please." Nathan's heart twisted. He caught a glimpse of the vulnerability cradled in his sister's words, and was reminded of their mother's laughter during sunny mornings, of family dinners that hadn't devolved into chaos. "I want to believe it, I really do," he said slowly, voice shaking, "but I can't just forget how you left us." Ethan's brows furrowed in response to Nathan's pain, and for the first time, Nathan noticed the deep lines etched on his father's face. They weren't just signs of age, they were evidence of struggle, of guilt that had aged him prematurely. "I know I can't erase the past, but I'm ready to try," Ethan said, his voice cracking under the weight of his own truth. The rain intensified, droplets glistening like tears against the darkened sky. Nathan felt overwhelmed by the desperate hope rising in Lily's eyes, but fear gnawed at him. Could change really come from a confession wrapped in sorrow and regret? "This feels impossible," he admitted, staring at the ground. Lily's small hand squeezed tighter around Ethan's. "You've said sorry, Daddy. That's a start. Isn't it? Nathan? We can't just keep hurting. We have to try." With each word, Nathan could feel the walls he built around his heart shaking. He looked from Ethan to Lily and back again. "I want to help Mom too," he murmured, tears gathering unwillingly in his eyes. "But I don't know how. How can we go back from here?" Ethan took a step closer, a tremor running through him. "We start by stepping into the light, Nathan. By being honest, no matter how painful." Nathan's breath caught in his throat. The reality of the past loomed large, suffocating him with shame, anger, and all the messages he had locked away. But as Ethan spoke, he realized that holding on to that pain was as toxic as loving someone through silence. Then came a wild flash of lightning, followed closely by a booming clap of thunder. The downpour amplified around them, water streaming down like the tears they had all held back for too long. In that moment, Nathan's defenses began to crumble. "Do you really want this?" he challenged, his voice louder than the chaos surrounding them. "What proof can you give me that this isn't just another empty promise?" Ethan paused, searching Nathan's face. "I'm here, aren't I? I'm not running away this time. I choose you, both of you, and I'll do everything I can to help your mother." The storm howled like the invisible forces of their past, but Nathan's heart beat in a steadier rhythm now. Perhaps, just maybe, there was a flicker of hope, a chance for something different. "We need to talk to Mom. She deserves that." He stepped closer to Ethan, uncertainty still buzzing inside him, but the warmth from Lily's outstretched arms melted a bit of his resistance. "Yes, we can all do this together." Lily beamed, her face bright despite the pouring rain. As Nathan turned toward the path that led to their mother, the crowd slowly faded into the background, their faces obscured by looming shadows. The storm roared above, but the path felt brighter ahead, illuminated by the fragile hope they carried with them. Then they heard a low rumble that wasn't just thunder. "Something else is coming," Nathan said, suddenly uneasy as the earth seemed to shudder once more beneath their feet. "What do you mean?" Lily asked, her face scrunching up in confusion. "No, not again," Ethan warned, stepping protectively in front of them. The atmosphere thickened with tension, and Nathan could feel something shifting. Was it the storm or was it something deeper? A storm of their own making? He drew in a shaky breath, wondering what else he would have to face as they ventured toward their mother, and if the storm would bring a change they desperately needed or another wave of devastation. What if the truth was waiting for them in the eye of the storm? As Nathan, Lily, and Ethan made their way to the small house that held so many precious memories, a powerful storm raged both outside and inside. Thunder cracked like a whip, sending jolts through the air. This was not just a dramatic weather event. It felt like the universe was echoing the turmoil of their hearts. Lily walked closely between the two men, her trusting innocence serving as a fragile bridge over the chasm of anger and hurt that had flourished for far too long. "Is Mom okay?" she asked, her small voice edged with concern. "We're going to make her okay, sweet girl," Nathan reassured her, though doubt threatened to seep into his words. They arrived at the door, heavy with both physical weight and the burden of what lay beyond. Nathan hesitated, a part of him fearful of what they would find. "Are we ready for this?" he whispered, looking at Ethan. With a nod, Ethan squared his shoulders. "Together? Together?" Nathan echoed, and with that, they stepped inside. The dim light of the living room revealed Ava, frail yet radiant, sitting in her favorite armchair, a knitted blanket draped over her legs. Her eyes grew wide as she saw them. A flicker of joy intertwined with confusion danced across her features. "Lily, Nathan," she exclaimed, her voice fragile yet filled with love. "Mom, I'm here," Lily exclaimed, rushing to her mother, who opened her arms wide. The embrace that followed was enveloped with warmth reminiscent of summer days spent baking cookies. Nathan took a deep, steadying breath, his heart swelling at the sight, yet anxiety gnawed at his edges. "Mom," he began, his voice quaking, "there's something we need to talk about." Ava's gaze flickered toward Ethan, and for a moment her smile faltered. "Ethan, you're here," she said, her voice a whisper. "After so long, I finally came back," Ethan replied, his voice thick with emotion. "I've been a fool, Ava. I have so much to say and so much to take responsibility for." The tension in the air thickened, weaving through their hearts. "Mom, things are changing," Nathan urged, glancing at Lily, who was nestled safely against Ava's side, her small hand reaching up to stroke her mother's hair. "We can heal." Ava's eyes, clear despite the fatigue etched into her features, moved from Nathan to Ethan. She saw the fear, the hope, and the trembling between them. "I never wanted any of you to hurt," she said softly, her voice cracking. "But I can't carry this pain anymore, either." As tears brimmed in her eyes, Nathan felt his heart shift, something in him softening as he knelt before her. "Mom, we'll face this together," he promised, his voice resolute amid the storm outside. "Can you believe that?" With effort, Ava smiled, a flicker of her old light returning. "If you're willing to speak, to understand, then how can I not believe in that?" "I know I've made mistakes," Ethan said, his voice raw and trembling. "But I want to take those steps with both of you. I want to fight for our family, for you." In that intimate moment, sealed by love and pain, Ava reached for Ethan's hand as best as she could, her touch igniting a warmth between them that bloomed like spring after a long winter. "Then let us not waste this chance," Ava breathed, guiding with her heart more than her words. Lily looked up, her eyes sparkling with hope. "We're stronger together, right?" "Yes, sweetheart," Nathan affirmed, feeling the truth of it course through him. "We are." And just then, as if synchronized with their shared moment of vulnerability, the storm outside began to subside. The rain transformed into gentle droplets, tinking against the windows, each sound a note of healing, a symphony ushering in a new chapter, rather than marking a farewell as they embraced. The warmth of forgiveness and healing wrapped around them like the sun breaking through the clouds. Hope surged like a river, carving new paths through the landscape of their lives. In the days that followed, they created something powerful, a community united in love and compassion. Nathan reached out to those he had once alienated, bridging the gap between past mistakes and shared aspirations. And together, they opened a foundation to support families like Lily's, a lifeline fueled by their collective strength. As seasons changed, Nathan, Lily, and Ethan stood side by side, watching the world blossom around them. Their love grew deeper, the bond unbreakable. In that quiet moment, the shadows of the past faded. They had battled through the storms together, and now they embraced the light. "Never doubt the power of love," Ava whispered one peaceful afternoon, her smile radiant. Nathan squeezed Lily's hand. "This is just the beginning." Together, Lily echoed, glancing at them both, her face glowing with joy. And so, in the wake of adversity, they forged a family anew, a testament to resilience, love, and the unwavering belief that healing is always possible. Now is the time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the journey of transformation you just witnessed. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.